Hey guys, Max from twitch.tv/MaximilianInc. This is a Mythic 16 Motherlode on World of Warcraft. This is not a calculated run. It's not perfect. It's a fun run. I had a lot of fun doing it. I'm making this video for people who want to jump in, get some general tips, and get in there and get tanking. The obelisks in any Mythic 10 plus can be a bit intimidating at times, but luckily Motherlode 16, this dungeon has an easy route. It's nothing crazy. You'll see when we get there. So my first tip for this dungeon starts here. We're gonna let that jockey get into the mech, and the reason we do that is for enemy force percent. When you let him get into the mech, you'll get just under 5% just for that mech. Now we're basically gonna start clearing these mobs here. We're gonna go down the path. We're gonna clear mobs around that house, and we're gonna get the pack in front of the boss's room, and we're gonna make our way back to this obelisk and do it then. And we're basically gonna take the obelisk entrance, and we're gonna exit out into the boss room. So as much as possible, these packs down here, we are letting them get into the mech and get that extra percent. I'm gonna have an issue where the mage's spell, I guess, passively stops the jockey from going into the mech, but it's no problem. We're gonna get up to about, I believe, 70 something percent before we fight the first boss. That'll give us a lot of head start on the enemy forces, and basically we're just taking obelisk to boss after this first grindy part. While we clear these mobs, let's talk about the affix raging. At 30%, mobs do a lot more damage. The only tip I have for this is be buff, know when to use your cooldowns. Watch yourself, catch yourself, make sure you don't let your health hit zero. Warriors have a lot of cooldowns we can use to survive stuff, and you can even use essences and trinkets to even survive more. So anytime my health gets low, I'm going to use my last stand. That's going to give me a big health boost. It's going to give me max HP up. I'm going to heal 30% of my health. And then I try to use ignore pain right after, just to start getting some damage absorbed and give me a lot of leeway to survive the onslaught I'm taking. Now for the necrotic debuff that causes a wound on you, preventing your healer's efficiency to heal you, you have to put distance. I can heroic leap back, create some distance for a few seconds, and the debuff will fall off, and I'm good to go. So shortly after this pack, I'm going to see that the percents are pretty good. We're going to make our way back to the obelisk, and we're going to do the first obelisk. I'm going to take this time here to mention that if you like this content, like and subscribe. And I also have my Twitch that I stream every night, twitch.tv/MaximilianInc with a K at the end. It'll be at the end of the video as well. If you want to just have a cruise time, have some fun, this is the kind of stuff I do, and I like to relax. But yeah, here we go. So first obelisk coming up in a little bit. It's a good idea to try and get in these obelisks as soon as you can, because the mythic dungeon is so pressed for time that everyone's getting in there quick, even the DPS and healer. You don't want to leave him in there by himself. You know, make sure you can get in there, taunt the boss, hit the boss, and get it kiting. Usually you're gonna kite the obelisk somewhere. There are instances like in Underrot, one of the obelisks I prefer not to move, but in this dungeon I want to use the obelisk to my advantage and skip as much grindy mobs as I can. The reason for the skip is we have so much enemy forces that it's just basically going to become our general strategy here to go from the obelisk to the boss and skip the mobs in between as much as possible. And we're just going to make sure that we get enough mobs just to finish off that last percent we need to complete the enemy forces part of the mythic dungeon. This is the first boss, and really there's not much to him. He drops these foot bombs, you kick at him, he takes extra damage. He does this static pulse. I like to sprint back, charge back, and make sure I stay on contact with him just to up the DPS I'm doing to him. This shocking claw, you sidestep, and you basically, I like to just cut him around the whole time because he keeps throwing these coins. When he throws the coins, you gotta move. I've never not moved him, so I guess I really don't know what those coins do. But yeah, if he throws coins, move them. And I just walk around in a circle backward, making sure I charge back again, make sure I keep my contact time and DPS up. And you know, everybody's just going hard on the boss, and we're gonna kill him. It's tyrannical, so it took a little bit longer, but I think tyrannical for the bosses in Motherlode is not that bad. Some dungeons like tyrannical is like the worst thing ever, but this week Motherlode not too bad. I'm gonna take this time to say that if you guys look on my screen, there's those 12 buttons in a rectangle on the left of my toolbars. If you guys see me clicking that, it's because I'm still getting used to using the MMO mouse with my tank. I was using it on my feral cat form a lot, but when I jumped back to this warrior recently to start grinding mythics again, I have to get used to making sure I hit those buttons and where they are, get it second nature. But I would highly recommend MMO mouse, and I would stick with the 12 button layout as it's the most common. So if ever your brand of mouse stops being produced, you could always just find another brand that has the 12 buttons. You don't want to go for any of those like innovative, unique ones that might not be produced again. But I highly recommend switching to MMO mouse because I just recently switched to these 12 button mouses and I really like them a lot. Alright, so I'm going to play this next few packs. We're just going to pull up to that obelisk and kill as few packs as possible. Our enemy forces are really high. And as stated before, we're going to get in that obelisk and we're going to take it to the next boss. So we're going to leap on this pack and we're going to kill this pack because we have to. I'm going to try and get in the obelisk without pulling the pack behind. Unfortunately, a DPS will aggro them with body pulling. So I'm going to stay out and fight them. And we're going to go a little bit over on enemy forces for this dungeon. No biggie. I'm not like trying to make like super great time. I wouldn't mind like plussing the key as much as I can, but unfortunately we did only get a +1. Who knows if we could have got a +2 if we didn't have to kill that group. But mistakes happen, you know, and the main thing to me is we complete the dungeon. Alright, for this slime obelisk guy, what I do is, this dungeon has a lot of room, so I pull him to the side and get him out of there before he drops that pool expanding by the tentacles, and my DPS will have a hard time killing them. I pull him to the side, I try to stay in the healer's range as much as possible, and I just kite him around. He is building up necrotic stacks on me, so I will have to be careful, and at one point I will leap away here and try to get the stacks to drop off before he engages me. I also noticed that they only had like a little bit of tentacles left with a little bit life, so I did decide to just start going up and running from the boss and letting the necrotic fall off and keep it from coming on, and we start taking him to the next boss. So here's a small blunder on my part where I'm trying to tell them to let me go in first, and perhaps I should have just went in. I wasn't too sure if the healer needed mana. I kind of wanted to just check a few things before I went in. I stalled and they jumped in first and they started having the boss aggro on them. But this boss is not too bad. You just gotta get the aggro and everyone else deals with the small mobs. As a tank, you can go ahead and stun them and CC them. They are susceptible to stun. Unfortunately, we do lose a member, but he gets battle res and we finish this boss nicely. Alright guys, if you guys like my content and my general strats that I use, you guys can go ahead and wait to the end or skip ahead, however you want to watch the video. I do have my Twitch TV account there and I do have my Instagram there. You guys can keep up to date. I do variety gaming. I've been doing a lot of WoW, Rust, Modern Warfare, Magic, and Fall Guys. That's the 5 I've been doing right now. So if you guys want to stick around to the end so you can stay up to date, follow me on Instagram, follow and subscribe on YouTube, whatever you guys want to do, stick around. We'll have some fun, do some crew stuff. I'm open to suggestions. We can do all kind of videos. I'm going to skip ahead here. This boss kind of just rotates between his Call the Earth Rager, his Tectonic Smash, and the resonating thing, so it's not really much to him. After this, you just fight him. He calls out to stun him, help your DPS out a little bit, and you guys get the boss done. Alright, we're going to finish the boss. We're going to burn him because his health is low. Mobs will disappear after. We're going to ride the minecart down, and I catch my friend doing this. Anyways, we're going to go into the obelisk. We're going to fight this guy. Those mobs explode on their own. You can kite the boss. You gotta cancel his spell casting repeatedly so it'll come quicker, and those mobs will explode on their own. If not, you gotta fight them. Generally they'll start casting that explosion. You can just jump out of it and you get the boss in position, rotate kicks to cancel the spell casting, and you kill it. So this next boss is more just about positioning, nothing too tricky. Throws this AoE on the ground that stays there, does a propeller blast that can blow away that Azurite goo, whatever she calls it, and your DPS can place in between it. I didn't give them much room in hindsight in this video, so I could have gave them more room to stand behind the boss and have her blow the propeller that way to clear more. But we're gonna get by just fine. We're not gonna paint ourselves into a corner and get hit hard by the AoEs. We're gonna down this boss, and we're gonna go for the last obelisk. Alright, coming up, the next few packs toward the last obelisk is actually kind of nice. It's just 2 packs and like, it looks like half of one. So here, we're gonna kill these 2. And then there's those flamethrower guys. They look like a pair, but you can just pull the right one and you can make it into obelisk without aggroing the last one. Because we're already complete with enemy forces. So I have to do the least possible. So here we go, we get into this obelisk. This guy is tricky. And the reason he's tricky is he go in, you hit the boss, you start doing big things to him. Then the ads pop up like a second after. So the problem with that is, you see me having aggro problems with threat plates. And yeah, you gotta just start AoEing after the mobs come out. So now I go in, I taunt the boss, I hit him with maybe shield slam, and I save thunderclap and revenge for when I have all of the mobs as well. So it wasn't too bad. We got all the mobs more on the quicker side, more or less. And yeah, we're just gonna start jumping away, get the necrotic to fall off. We're gonna kite him up to the last boss room and we're gonna kill him there. So we get here with just under 10 minutes. We basically got this mythic in the bag. This last boss is not terribly hard. We're more or less just going to DPS him down, dodge the AoEs. There's a small gimmick where you have to get him to do this drill attack on these poles that he summons. And once the poles are down, he'll come back down from flying up. You DPS him down for the win. Alright, we're going to get him down to about a little under half. He's going to fly up. There's going to be 2 mobs you pick up as a tank. Those flamethrower guys, whatever you got, kind of gun. With flame behind him. Look like flamethrower guys. We're going to get them aggroed. Sometimes a little tricky to start far apart, but I believe I've never seen a DPS get melted by them. So you got some time. Just make sure you get them as soon as you can. There's a drill attack on those totem pole things. Boss is going to hit it. You do that 2 more times. He's going to come back down. And that's about all the strat for this boss. There's a Gatling gun you got to dodge. And we're going to kill him here. And we're going to get our Mythic 16 out of the way for the week. And we'll get the max loot for the Mythic chest. Alright guys, if you guys like my general strat video on that Mythic dungeon, I'm going to try and get more up. Don't forget, if you want to keep up to date, you can check me out on twitch.tv/MaximilianInc and my Instagram, MaximilianInc with a Z at the end. I'm going to do more Mythics. I'm going to stream every night as much as I can, so hit me up. Peace out.